go on there. So everybody was like kind of hyped up about this conjunction because it's also going to conjunct this fixed star called Algol. And it is nicknamed the Demon Star. And so all these astrologers, at least all the videos I saw, you know, it's all this like kind of very dark interpretations. And I'm like, you know, we just shouldn't like be manifesting this. I don't feel like the problem is that a lot of the mythology, we've said this, like around a lot of the planets and the constellations is dark. Like Roman and Greek mythology is pretty fucked. Like it's all like this Zeus cut this one's head off and this one was raped and murdered.
Fucked this woman's 5th wife and had 12 babies. Like, yeah,
it's really messy. And so like we probably need to like change the mythology here. So anyway, they call it the Demon Star. It's in the constellation of Perseus, and it's on, I guess it's the top of Medusa's head. The Medusa star, I don't know, whatever.
Do you want me to read the description?
Yes.
Okay. So this is what Kim has to say about Algol, which we feel like, again, what she was saying, like she couldn't find any, the mythology on it sucks ass, because it's all outdated.
Yeah.
That's like, it's literally, the mythology of the Romans and the Greeks is what solidified us into the patriarchy.
Yeah.
Our mythology is what plays out archetypally in our society. And we've been programmed by these archetypes that are all patriarchal.
Yeah.
So she said that Algol represents the dragon warrior, keeper of divine order. It speaks to the misuse of violence and force to manipulate and abuse people rather than to realign with natural law. Algol is the head of Medusa, a gorgon or dragon, guarding the edge of the world, and awakens us to the frozen light within that has become dark. So another interesting side note is that it's a fixed star, so it never changes from, 29 degrees Taurus? 26 degrees, so it always is 26 degrees Taurus, and it's always gene key 8, line 3. What I feel like is interesting is gene key 8 is mediocrity to, I forget, style to, the city of...
Mediocrity, style, flair,
flair, that'd be funny. Mediocrity to style to exquisiteness. So that gene key, and a very, very brief lump summary, is about being your own creative rebel. It's like Richard Rudd calls it being a rebel with a cause.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's like when you realize like you don't want to be a part of society, you want to be your own individual self, which is actually interesting with Uranus and Mars, because Mars...
Isn't Uranus in 8 now too? I think
Uranus and Mars will move into 8.
Yes.
But what I find about Uranus is that I've read some things recently that Uranus is very about like finding your individuality.
Yes.
But to get past Saturn to Uranus, Mars is the lower octave of Uranus.
Yes.
And I just find that interesting that now they're conjuncting.
Yes.
This is about awakening the light in you.
Yes.
You have to find your own unique contribution to society where you're not going to fit in with anybody else. We're all not meant to fit in. We're all meant to be unique individuals.
Yeah.
And line 3 is we're going to have experiences. Because line 3s are all about you have to experience it to learn it.
Oh, I know that one well.
So, yeah, that's right. You're a 1-3 profile.
You have to constantly fail at everything. Literally, every time I read about line 3s, like, you're going to have to fail at everything until you succeed.
Oh, really? Like, online?
Like, it says, like, basically you have to get comfortable with failing, because it means you tried something and you experimented with it, and that's the whole way to learn. So if you don't try, you don't learn.
You're not going to learn.
Get over the fear of failure. But that's very interesting because, you're right. Of like Mars is the lower octave of Uranus, so there could also be like a big implosion of like the patriarchal energy, possibly. And in the realm of Taurus, where does that land? Ownership, money, land. It's interesting. And also Taurus is the most consistent of the signs, like enjoys structure and like routine and all of that. So I don't know, this is going to be very interesting. But also when I was researching Algol, I told Hope, because we just figured out that her moon is conjunct Algol, like natally, that this star eclipses itself every 3 days. So it's just like in a permanent eclipsed energy, which is always like endings, beginnings, endings.
Emotionally,
beginnings.
it feels like I'm going through that every 72 hours. Maybe
Literally.
that makes sense.
But it also did, the article that I had found, and talked about spiritual protection. And so I also thought that was really interesting, because it feels like no matter what happens, if it's Earth events, if it is implosion of some sort of like industry or something, like we're all like getting provided spiritual protection like through the process. So I think it's a good thing, but I don't know. Who knows how it's going to play out? It's a little bit tumultuous, if you ask me.
I feel like it's obviously going to be depending on where people are at. And
yes, exactly.
For people that are watching this, it's obviously going to, we pray nothing but the higher experiences, you know, because
it could be grand. It could be surprises, sudden manifestations. Like, there's a lot of...
Because I feel it will line up to this article. I want to talk about, like, the gene keys of this week, and then we'll talk about an article that I just got in my email about the eclipses, because this girl is talking about the eclipse in Aries and Libra in October. I know we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but it's important now because it has to do with kind of, like, this manifestation. She talks about Pluto and Capricorn, all these different things. So I feel like it's all interconnected and there is no fear. We are protected, and just like as Pluto is going to move officially into Aquarius, I feel like we've all woken up during Pluto and Capricorn, right?
True.
You know, so we're going to get blessings from waking up during this time that carry us into Pluto and Aquarius. We don't have to repeat those lessons. We learn them in Pluto and Capricorn.